So shall we maybe introduce ourselves and the roles that we have and the jobs so far?
Yep. So my name's Laura Kendrick, and I'm one of 2 business development managers for ARU Temps, and our job is to engage with industry and basically to get them working with our students. I do represent the whole employability service and the wider ARU when I'm talking with potential employer partners, but my primary focus is finding paid work for students to fit around their studies. There's lots of different elements to the role. So I like attend a lot of networking and industry events to meet with businesses who want to gain access to ARU students. I also give like talks at events to help employers see the benefits of recruiting our students and just generally being an ambassador for ARU. I also like create lots of content to share with those industry partners to kind of add value to the service that we provide and just generally opening up conversations which can lead on to those future collaborations. I do quite a lot on like LinkedIn, but also blog articles, brochures and marketing materials just to help raise the profile of the employability service with industry. And you might have heard of the internship scheme, you probably have. So I helped to set that up and I run that. And that's obviously a brilliant opportunity for undergraduate students to gain access to paid work experience that's actually relevant to the course that they're doing. And they are with external employer partners, but they can also be on campus with ARU departments as well. And as part of that internship and as part of our service that we offer employers when they choose to recruit through us, it's a fully managed service. So we do like the vacancy promotion, we receive all the applications in, we do the CV shortlisting, we arrange the interviews, and we pay the people that get those positions as well. And it's a really popular option with employers because it takes away all of that work. They just don't have to do any of that and they can get on with their day-to-day work. And we do a lot of our engagement with SMEs because they just don't have the infrastructure to do that recruitment really themselves. Like they're way busy just like making revenue, doing their day-to-day activities, and they just haven't got the time for that. So that's why they come to us. And then from a student perspective, so we obviously provide those really brilliant in-industry opportunities, which are great because everyone needs to earn money, and that's a great way to do it. But also to gain that valuable work experience, to enhance CV, and to give students a better chance of succeeding in their like future career goals. And as part of our service as well, we give them feedback along the way. So CV feedback, interview feedback, and we help them through that recruitment process and whilst they're in the position, if they're chosen to do that.
Yeah, it sounds so valuable. They run throughout the spring and summer, don't they?
Yeah, so the ARU internship scheme is sort of specifically spring and summer, and that's because we offer match funding. So the businesses have a bit of an incentive to work with us during spring and summer. They can come to us at any time and we'll help. But during those times, we offer half the costs basically of recruiting an intern. So that's why we focus on that sort of core scheme, and it's really popular.
Yeah, nice. So I'll just tell you a little bit about what I do within the employability service.
Yeah, please do.
So I'm a third year, just finishing up, getting ready to go on for after uni. I work as an employability activator. So essentially what I do is support the employability service, especially in Peterborough, as we're more kind of developing than like Cambridge and stuff. Attend events, help to promote the service and raise awareness. We run a campus stall so that students can come for like on-hand advice. So if they need help with appointments, if they need help with CVs and signposting them to the services and things like that. So brilliant. Things like this obviously helps to raise awareness.
Yeah, and it's also good for your CV.
Absolutely. So I'll just ask you a couple of questions, just have a little conversation about it. So my first question is, what inspired you to work within the employability service?
So I was working in what everyone in ARU Temps calls proper recruitment. So massive, one of the big players. I hadn't been doing it an awfully long time. I wasn't really enjoying it. I can't totally blame the job for that because I was in a weird time of my life. So I think there were lots of things going on. But the training was brilliant, and I liked the whole concept of it. But it just, where I wasn't right. And I was living in Chelmsford at the time because I'm born and bred from Chelmsford. I walked past the Chelmsford campus, and the sun was shining on Michael Ashcroft building. I just thought, oh, that looks like a nice place to work. So I went on to the vacancies page, and to see there was literally a job spec made for a recruiter, and I applied and got the job. And it really did give me the opportunity to help people rather than just make commission for myself and the company. Because in that first role that I did, I helped to set up the employability service because I've been here for like a gazillion years. It's like 13 years this year. So yeah, I helped set that up, and we since then have been at the forefront of enhancing employability for students, and I take a lot of pride in that.
Completely. Do you find this one's a lot more rewarding than the other side of recruitment?
Like infinitely. Yeah. I mean, like I say, I was in a very strange time in my life. So I think that there was a lot of things that were compacting to make me not enjoy it. And one of the things that I remember always striking me that's the difference is, well, when I'm looking through CVs to shortlist for a role here, I can see that the candidate, even though it might be a terrible CV, I can somehow see, do you know what, they've got potential, and I bet they'd be a good candidate if I could help them through the process a bit more, get them their CV set up right, get them some interview prep. And that's so lovely to be able to help someone on that journey. So yeah, that's the real difference. And I mean, I've been here for 13 years, like I say, I've never been anywhere else that long. It wouldn't be physically possible, but yeah, I just think that it's such a good place to work, and particularly the team as well, and the wider service is just, it's always changing, it's always challenging.
No, it sounds so rewarding as well.
It's
what advice would you give to students who are just starting their job search?
Register with ARU Temps, because it is honestly the kind of easiest and safest way to start working, because we're on campus, we're here, we are part of student services, we're always going to be working to help you. So I definitely would register with us. And also don't try to find the perfect job right away. Like, to begin with, you've got to do lots of jobs which are completely unrelated to what you want to do when you grow up. But they all play like a really important part in giving you the skills and experience that you need to succeed down the line. So yeah, don't fixate on it being 100% aligned. Just think, as long as you can go, well, actually that part of that job will help me to gain this skill, which could translate or transfer into other things, and then you're on the right track.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I can definitely advocate for that. Every interview and stuff I've been to, one of my favorite questions to ask the recruiter is, what would you give advice to your younger self?
Ooh.
And everyone always says, take the opportunities, take the different things, and just gain as much as you can to then find your job at the end of it. It's so true.
Yeah, that was a tough question though.
Yeah. I do like to ask it because it really gets them thinking. What skills do you think are the most important for students to develop for their future careers?
So I actually think that customer service is the pinnacle of employability skills that people should have, because it incorporates other skills, because you can't be good at customer service or have good customer service if you can't communicate well and work in a team. So I think that it's good because it sort of incorporates other elements as well, but also I think it makes you more aware of everyone around you, because if you're always trying to do your best for the customer and give them the best customer experience, then you should always, then there's not really much else anyone can ever ask of you. I always think of students, the employer partners I work with, academics, faculty staff, my colleagues, my superiors, I always think of them as customers, and that way I know I'm always giving them the best customer service, I'm doing the best that I can. And I think that all comes from my background in customer service, because when I started out my first jobs, it was sales, it was customer service, it was working in shops, working in bars, and that just gave me such a good grounding of how to deal with people and get the best out of myself and the best out of others.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense. I've done 4 years in customer service, and it's been it's been an experience.
Yeah, you
But
just see so much, don't you?
yeah, and every day is so different. You never know what you're
Mhm.
getting tasked with. It really does challenge you to kind
Yeah.
of get to the root of it and kind of help out as much as you can.
Yeah, this is it. I think there's a danger, especially when someone like me have been here this long, of being like institutionalized and being like, no, I only do this. And I just think by always thinking, well, I've got to help that person because they're my customer and that's my job. Like that's then it doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter if it actually relates to my job. Like they're still a person that needs help. So yeah, I think that's a good way
Yeah.
to think.
And the amount of transferable skills that come from it is
Exactly.
exceptional.
Yes. So were you in retail or
Hospitality.
hospitality? Yeah, retail and hospitality, they're the ones. Yeah.
It's always a challenge, always trying to motivate, and the amount of things that we've gone through as a team. It's the amount of examples I have for interviews and things like
Yes.
that. They ask about.
Yeah. They're so good, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a real treasure trove of interview examples.
Yeah, without a doubt. How do you stay motivated and passionate within your job?
So I think I did touch on this before, but it is a really varied role, which I love because it keeps me like interested and on my toes. I am like a lover of a deadline, so if we it's very rare, but if we do ever have a bit of a slump, I struggle to get stuff done. So I think motivation, as much as I can motivate myself, it comes from the fact that we're really busy and there's all that variety, because that works for me to keep me motivated. And as I did say, I've worked in this same role for 11 years. But I've not got bored of it yet because the students change and the businesses change and the jobs change and there's always something new. There's a new challenge to overcome and enjoy the successes or the failures or whatever it's going to be. So yeah, it's the variety I think that helps. And that just naturally keeps me motivated and passionate, really.
Yeah, no, that's so fair, especially being in the job role for so long. It shows that you must love for it.
Yeah.
My final question for you is, do you have a memorable experience or success story from your time at ARU?
I mean, success story, like I said before, because I came in at a time, so when I started in the other role, it was an ECA, Employability and Careers Advisor is what I started as, and they just rejigged the whole of the careers and the employability department. So it was just called the careers team, I think, and they had kind of said that's not the way we want to do it anymore. We want to be more proactive rather than reactive. We want to be employability focused rather than career focused. And it was kind of starting from scratch. And that was when the big employability kind of mission and drive throughout the whole of the UK came about. And ARU were kind of one of the first universities to really take it and run with it. And so when I came in at that time, there was loads of stuff to do, loads of materials to produce, loads of embedding in the curriculum to do, which was really hard to begin with. So having been a part of that setup and then to see it, I mean, I actually did it for about 2.5 years and then I moved into the temps job. But having set up at that crucial time and then looking at what the ECAs use today, some of those materials are the same stuff that I set up. Like,
Oh, wow.
it sounds like it's really old, but it's still very relevant materials and there's been adaptations, but yeah, to see that some of that stuff that I helped with early on is still being used today, that I do take a lot of pride in that. I think that's a big success and it's kind of my legacy, if you will, from having been here for so long. So I hope it does stick around. And the internship scheme, because that was something that we didn't have. So that was set up in 2020 off the back of COVID.
Oh, wow.
So originally it was designed to help grads because I don't know if you remember or were aware at the time, but the graduate labour market just completely bottomed out because no one was hiring. So they just had no jobs. And so we did, initially it was a fully funded internship scheme where a business could get this grad for free for 8 weeks, I think it was. And I, again, was part of the team that set that up from scratch, got it all going. I did most of the placements for those. I think we had something ridiculous like 60 odd that first year. And it's just gained us such notoriety with industry, really. It's set us apart and it's something that we can always talk about positively. And so being a part of that and running it still very proud of that success. I would say that, yeah, a big success.
No, that's incredible. Have you had students kind of from the internship scheme gain full-time jobs from it or anything like that?
Loads. That happens often, yeah. So that's obviously the best outcome, but at the end of it, they get made perm. But also you might get companies saying we want to make them our next placement student. We want to extend it a bit longer because they've done so well, and we can see them taking on some additional responsibilities. Yeah, there's lots of that comes from that, but also just being able to see it on the CV. So when you've had maybe a second year intern a comeback for the jobs in the third year, and then you see that bit of work experience that was part of the internship scheme, and I'm like, that's just, I'm seeing it like an employer would, and that looks so good. That's such amazing experience to have, and all those skills they've gained, and they've just really raised themselves up in the terms of their desirability to a future employer.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense. Yeah. Well, that's all the questions I have for you. Is there anything you wanted to ask me at all?
Well, I know you are still young, very young, but because I found it a difficult question to answer, what advice would you give to your younger self, even younger self?
Well, that's a good question. I think for me, something that I never really had the confidence to go out and do what I wanted to do. So I've always known I wanted to do business. I've always known things like that. But then I had that mindset of I'm underqualified. I can't apply for that job. I'm underqualified. I can't do that. So I think if I could go back now, I'd say as long as I kind of fit a few of the things, just apply, just try it out, like write the cover letter, just apply, and whatever happens, happens. I think, as we said about taking opportunities, it's something that I kind of struggled with, especially as someone that I never wanted to go to university. It wasn't something that was kind of on my career path. So I applied for apprenticeships. But then I found myself throwing away applications because I'm not qualified enough. Whereas I think I'd go back and say, look, give it a shot. Like, what's the worst thing? I think university has been very reflective for me in that kind of sense. Because obviously, like, university was just kind of never on the radar for me. And my family have never been to university. I'm in university. So it was kind of like the unknown for me. Whereas apprenticeship, I've seen people go down and I've seen kind of the way they've built out of that. So after university, I'm actually going on to do an apprenticeship.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'll get to experience kind of both sides of it.
Yeah.
Which valuable. Yeah. I think it was a good way because obviously the grad job market is so saturated and there's so much competition. So I started applying for apprenticeships as well because I was like, well, there's still ways of gaining employment, still ways of learning. It's kind of the best of both worlds.
I 100% agree. Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
So you've got that all secured?
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations. Well done.
And obviously I'll have my degree to kind of bump it up a little bit as well.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. And it will just put anyone else going into degree apprenticeship, I would say, wouldn't have the discipline you'll have. Little things like being able to reference and research, and that's a huge advantage. Yeah, you will absolutely soar. It would be great.
Yeah, no, the skills from university are going to be so valuable, especially dissertations, writing those massive things. It's just going to kind of come a bit more naturally now because I'm so used to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's been an experience, that's for sure, especially like the applications, things like that. And I think working for the service has given me such a different outlook on it because obviously I've used the resources, I've used everything I possibly can. I've had the career mentor, I've done everything possible to try and better myself. And when I'm sitting at the desk helping students, that's something I really advocate for. Saying like make sure you're using the career centre online because without it I wouldn't have known where to start.
No, yeah, it is a really good resource. We've got loads. We are really well. The students are really lucky, and I meet lots of people outside of work, and they're from other unis, and I'm like, you need to go and talk to your employability service, and they're like, I don't even know where that is, and I'm like, God, they just we do a really good job of it. That's true.
Yeah, no, the support has been unmatched, especially because obviously I go to Peterborough. We only opened in 2022, so I was kind of like, will we have the same level? But I've gone out to Cambridge, I've gone out to things like that and worked with them. And it's been so valuable for everyone's so supportive.
Good. I'm pleased.
Yeah, it's definitely been valuable.
Good. Well, huge luck for that next step. When do you start?
September.
Lovely.
So I hand in my last assignments this week.
Oh.
Yeah.
No more exams?
No, nothing else.
Oh my God, what a relief.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been really valuable to learn about your job and everything that you do for ARU.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. It was lovely meeting you.
You too. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.